If you're a green card holder, what I'm about to share could affect every single trip you take, every tax return you file, and even some of the benefits you rely on. USCIS has just overhauled the rules, and for the first time, travel, taxes, and benefits are now interconnected in a way that could work for you or against you. Here's why this matters. If you spend too much time outside the US, even for what feels like a harmless family visit, your travel history could now be examined alongside your tax records. And if USCIS sees gaps, inconsistencies, or even a missed filing, it might raise serious questions about whether you're truly maintaining your permanent resident status. It doesn't stop there. Certain benefits you apply for, like Social Security or Medicare eligibility checks, may now be cross-referenced with your travel and tax information. That means what you do in one area could suddenly impact the other too. Imagine this. You travel abroad for a few months, come back, and later file your taxes a bit late. That small delay could now create a red flag in the USCIS system, especially if they're evaluating a future application for citizenship or a re-entry permit. The truth is, many seniors aren't aware of these changes, and by the time they find out, it's often too late to fix the problem. That's why it's more important than ever to keep your records aligned and understand exactly how these new connections work. In this video, I'll break down what's changed, who's most affected, and the simple steps you can take to protect your green card and your peace of mind. So, if you want to stay informed and avoid costly mistakes, hit that like button right now. It tells YouTube this information matters, and it helps other green card holders like you find it before it's too late. All right, let's dive deeper into exactly what's going on here, because these changes aren't just a small policy tweak buried in a government website. This is a fundamental shift in how USCIS looks at your life as a green card holder, and for many seniors, it changes the game completely. For years, your travel record, your tax filings, and the benefits you receive were largely handled in separate boxes. Immigration checked your travel and residency. The IRS looked at your taxes. Social Security focused on your benefit eligibility. Now, those boxes are getting connected with thicker, stronger lines, and the information is flowing between them faster than ever before. Why is this happening? Well, USCIS says it's about ensuring compliance and protecting the integrity of the immigration system. But in practical terms, it means they want to be certain that green card holders are truly living in the US as their primary home, fulfilling all tax obligations, and not relying on certain benefits in ways that could suggest they've abandoned their residency. This is especially critical if you're a senior who spends long stretches abroad. Maybe you're helping family overseas, or you're enjoying an extended retirement trip. Those trips, innocent as they might be, are now more visible to USCIS when they match them up with your tax data and benefit usage. Let's talk about travel first. You've probably heard the old rule. If you're outside the US for more than 6 months at a time, you could face questions at the border. More than a year without a re-entry permit? That's even riskier. But here's the twist. Under this interconnected approach, even shorter trips could be looked at differently if your tax records don't show consistent US presence, or if your benefit activity paints a picture that doesn't match the travel story you're telling. It's almost like a puzzle. They take the travel dates, the tax filing dates, the addresses you use, and the benefits you've applied for, and they see if it all fits together. If there's a piece missing, they might ask why. Now, about taxes, this is where many seniors stumble without realizing it. If you hold a green card, you're considered a US tax resident, no matter where you live or where your income comes from. That means you must file a US tax return every single year, even if your only income is a small pension from another country or Social Security from the US. Some seniors think, well, I wasn't in the US much this year, so I don't need to file. That's exactly the kind of thinking that could cause trouble now. If USCIS sees a gap in your tax filings, they might interpret it as you abandoning your residency, especially if that gap matches a period of extended travel. And benefits, this one's tricky. Many seniors rely on programs like Medicare, Social Security, or supplemental security income. Some of these benefits have their own residency requirements. For example, if you stay outside the US for too long, your SSI payments could stop. Now imagine USCIS having direct access to those benefit activity records while reviewing your travel and tax history. If they see that your benefits stopped because you were overseas, that's another puzzle piece that could make them question your intent to live in the US permanently. Here's the thing, I know this can sound intimidating, and I don't want to scare you for the sake of it. My goal here is to give you the knowledge you need so you can stay one step ahead and keep your status safe. Because the truth is, there are plenty of ways to avoid problems, but only if you know the rules and stay consistent. Think of it like tending a garden. If you water it regularly and check for weeds before they take over, you'll have no trouble keeping it healthy. But if you ignore it for too long, fixing it becomes a lot harder. One of the smartest moves you can make is to be proactive with your travel and tax planning. If you know you're going to be away for an extended time, look into getting a re-entry permit before you leave. Keep a clear record of when you enter and exit the US, and even if you think you don't owe a dime in taxes, file your return anyway. It's not just about money, it's about showing your ongoing ties to the country. When you apply for citizenship down the road, or if you ever need to renew your green card, having a clean, consistent record will make the process much smoother. Another important tip, if you're receiving benefits, make sure you fully understand the residency rules that apply to them. Social Security retirement benefits can usually be paid overseas, but SSI, for example, stops after 30 days abroad. Medicare generally doesn't cover you outside the US, so using it during certain periods can also show where you are living. If USCIS starts checking these details more closely, you want your story to match in all three areas: travel, taxes, and benefits. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but I've been doing things the same way for years and never had an issue. And you might be right until now. The difference is that before, these systems didn't talk to each other in the same way. You could have a small inconsistency, and maybe it wouldn't be noticed. But with the new interconnected approach, those small cracks are much more likely to be spotted. This doesn't mean you're in trouble if you've made a mistake in the past, but it does mean that moving forward, you need to be more careful. Let me share a quick example of how this could play out. Imagine a green card holder named Maria. She's 72, and she spends every winter in her home country to escape the cold. She always comes back before the 6-month mark, but one year, she decides to stay a little longer, about 7 months. She also misses the tax filing deadline that year because she's overseas, thinking it's no big deal. The following year, she applies for US citizenship. Under the old system, she might have been able to explain the long trip and move on. Under the new interconnected rules, USCIS could see her extended travel, her late tax filing, and maybe even a pause in her SSI benefits, and together, those three things could make them question whether she really intended to live permanently in the US. That could delay or even derail her citizenship application. This is why I keep coming back to the same point. Consistency is everything. Your travel story, your tax history, and your benefit usage should all tell the same story, that your permanent home is in the United States and you're fulfilling all the responsibilities that come with being a green card holder. That's the picture you want USCIS to see when they look at your file. So as we go through the rest of this video, I'll give you practical ways to line everything up and keep your record spotless. We'll talk about travel patterns that are safer, tax filing tips for seniors who have income from multiple countries, and how to manage your benefits without sending mixed signals to USCIS. You've worked too hard to earn and keep your green card, and with just a little extra awareness, you can make sure these new rules work in your favor, not against you.